Hey guys, it's Megan. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope I'm catching everyone on a good day and that everyone's doing well. I want to reintroduce myself. My name is Megan. I just turned 34 years old and I've been diagnosed with bipolar type 1 disorder as well as panic disorder and PTSD. Here on my YouTube channel, I talk about my mental health issues and struggles and triumphs and just kind of talk everything mental health. But in April of 2020, I found out I was pregnant, and my husband and I had been struggling to have a baby for years, and so this was an absolute miracle. And I gave birth to my daughter, Remy. Her name's Remy Nash. On December 9th of 2020, she came right on her due date. So in this video, I kind of want to talk about my birth story, and then my future videos are going to be what it's been like having a newborn living with bipolar disorder. I know being a new mom, mental illness or not, is very challenging, and it's been the most joyous, amazing time of my life, but the sleep deprivation has really caused some issues for me, but I'm in a much better place. My husband is really stepping up to the plate and helping me with nighttime feedings, which has made all the difference. I'm a completely different person between when I sleep and when I don't. And so anyways, I'll get into that in future videos, but I have a mental health Instagram page and I post stuff on there about mental health as well. So the Instagram handle is called The Mind Bar, and so I'll leave that in the description below. So I'd love it if you followed me on Instagram too. If any of you out there have any specific topics about mental health that are of course appropriate, nothing gross or nasty, but you're more than welcome to DM me and let me know a topic regarding mental health that you would like me to talk about in a video, and I'm more than happy to do that. Sometimes being a new mom, it's difficult thinking of topics for videos, and so I just don't have the capacity sometimes, so having some help with topics would probably help me make videos more frequently. I want to say that I genuinely appreciate the feedback that all of you out there give me and write me messages telling me that my story inspires and helps you, and that also makes me motivated to continue to make videos because that's all I want to do. If you're new here and this is the first video of mine that you're seeing, I highly suggest going back to my very first video and then working your way forward. I went into great detail and made very difficult videos that were hard for me to make because I'm talking about really difficult things. And I basically tell my story in chronological order. So if you want to know my full mental health story and all the shit I've been through, I highly suggest scrolling back in the videos to the very first video I made and just working your way up, or, you know, focusing on the videos where the title, you know, speaks to you and it's something you want to know. Because if you're just watching this video for the first time, my story is pretty intense, pretty crazy. Most people that know me now would never think that I've been through half of the shit that I've been through. But I have, and I've gone through a lot, and so I don't intend on remaking those videos. They were, like I said, extremely difficult to make, talking about like being in the psych ward and sexual harassment and jail and getting beat up and living on the streets and doing drugs. That's kind of like a gist of what the old videos are about. And I plan to leave those up forever because you never know who's gonna come across it and who it's gonna help. So for that, I'm definitely gonna keep those videos up. Plus, it's fun for me once in a while to go back and watch those videos. I just kind of like decided that my mindset with YouTube, I didn't really know what my mindset was. I didn't really know where I was going with my channel. Of course, I was getting great feedback that my videos were helping, but I wasn't really doing it for myself. But ever since I got pregnant and talked to some of my friends, they're like, you should totally document your pregnancy, like you'll never regret that. And I was like, it's so true. I want to remember this pregnancy. So that kind of re-inspired me to make videos in September, documenting my pregnancy and talking about mental health and pregnancy. And ever since I started making videos again in September, I've gotten a lot more subscribers and a lot more people seem interested in learning about what it's like having a mental illness and being a mom. Okay, so let's back way up to finding out I'm pregnant. So, like I had mentioned, my husband and I struggled to get pregnant for years. We started trying to get pregnant in 2015 and it wasn't happening, and it really triggered me to get super depressed because at the time I had a hair salon and I was always around people talking, being social, and I had this like shameful secret of me struggling to get pregnant. And it's really sad because along with mental health, fertility is another subject that's very stigmatized. Like women feel sad and embarrassed when people ask like, hey, when are you gonna have kids? And then like maybe you've been trying to have kids, and like it's just not a topic that people necessarily feel comfortable talking about. And I know for myself, it was really hard having the hair salon because like, let's just say I was having a client and I was like coloring their hair and they're like a paying customer. Like I have to be professional. And they asked me like, when are you and your husband gonna have kids? Like I can't just like fucking break down and start crying in front of my clients. So I would just kind of like stuff it down and just like pretend like it wasn't bothering me. And I would just tell myself like it's gonna happen when it's gonna happen. But you know, it was really painful to see other women getting pregnant so easily. And like I didn't understand like why it was so hard for me. But of course, now that you know, years later, I have my daughter Remy and I look at her, I realize that's the reason it took so long. You know, she's definitely been worth the wait, but that doesn't mean my journey hasn't been super painful. And, you know, I do have other friends in my life that struggle with fertility. And even though I got pregnant and had a baby, like I still completely understand that pain and sadness that occurs when, you know, you're trying to have a baby. So anyhow, last January, I actually had like a spiritual psychic reading, and I just listened to it the other night at like 3 a.m. when I was breastfeeding because I haven't listened to it. And I had goosebumps, I had chills because the whole point of me going and having that reading was to, you know, ask the lady who I've been seeing for years, who's by the way, really legit. Like she gives super accurate readings. But I asked her about having a baby, and I won't go too much into it, but it just like gave me goosebumps, like all the things she was saying and how things fell into place, how they did, you know. She didn't make it seem like I was gonna have a baby in 2020, but I definitely got pregnant a few months later. So having my reading with her, you know, she can't prescribe or diagnose anything as far as like medical issues, but she said that spirits were telling her that like there was something going on with my body. And in the past, my husband got tested and like he's fully healthy and like can, you know, give a woman a baby. So obviously it was like something with my body, and that was really painful too because I kind of felt like it was like my fault that we weren't getting pregnant, which was really annoying. But someone close to me in my life, I won't name names, got pregnant surprisingly, and it hit me hard because I wasn't expecting this person to get pregnant, and it just made me realize that like I need to go see a doctor. I need to figure out what's going on. I'm not getting any younger. I'm 33 at the time. You know, I just turned 34. My birthday's New Year's Eve. And so basically I went to the fertility clinic at the end of February, early March, and they kind of did the whole rundown explaining how fertility clinics do their thing and all the options and this and that. And so the doctor that I saw suggested that I do an ultrasound of my ovaries to check my eggs, and then also do it has a name, but it's basically a dye test where they shoot dye into your fallopian tubes and then look at it on an ultrasound to see if there's any blocks in your fallopian tubes as to why like you haven't gotten pregnant. And so my mom went with me to the appointment and we talked about it afterwards, and we agreed like I should do the test and just see what I'm working with, because you know, obviously the end all be all is doing IVF, which like I totally would have done because that's how bad my husband and I wanted a baby. But like, again, I'm thankful I didn't have to go that route. Like I have so much respect for people who have to do IVF because it is like not an easy road, and also just people that struggle with fertility issues. Anyways, like it's just, I have so much respect because, you know, unless you live it, it's so hard. So go and do those tests. So like the first appointment, the consultation was like late February. Then like they said to, once I start my period in March, wait 5 days into my period and then call them and book the appointment for the to check the eggs and do the fallopian tube test. And so I did, and I booked the appointment, and I was so thankful because my ovaries were healthy, I had lots of eggs, and my fallopian tubes were clear. And the fertility doctor said that I should just like see if I can get pregnant naturally in March, but in April she was gonna start me on a medication called Clomid that helps women get pregnant. And I was just, I thought in the back of my head, like, wouldn't it be crazy if I got pregnant naturally after this test? But like, I've literally seen so many negative pregnancy tests and thought I was pregnant when I wasn't, but like, I don't really get my hopes up anymore after like, 5 years of trying. You just expect to start your period and not be pregnant. But anyhow, as I was laying on the table doing the dye test, the fertility doctor said to me that a lot of women reportedly get pregnant right after doing the test. And so there's a strong possibility I could get pregnant naturally, being that I have enough eggs and my fallopian tubes are clear. And so when I went home, I did some research and like looked it up online, and sure enough, there was lots of articles and people claiming that they did that dye test and then boom, they got pregnant either that same month or the month after that. And so fast forward, I definitely got pregnant right after I did that test, because it's like I did it 5 days into my period, and then, you ovulate pretty soon after your period. And so, yep, I found out I was pregnant on April 9th, 2020. And my pregnancy has just been like an amazing journey. Obviously, it's filled with anxiety. Like in the beginning, I was like really scared to have a miscarriage. Like I've never been pregnant. So I was just like any woman, I was just so like, I really don't want to lose this baby. Like I want this baby more than anything. And thankfully, my pregnancy was really smooth. I didn't have any complications. Literally nothing. And I told my doctors and nurses my whole pregnancy, like I don't want to know my weight, because I used to struggle with like kind of like an eating disorder type of a situation, and get really obsessed with like numbers, and if there's a number I don't like, then I'm like in a bad mood and I'm restricting, and I just knew I wasn't going to enjoy my pregnancy if I knew my weight. Like I'm already like kind of a big bitch. Like I'm tall, I'm 5'8", and even at my thinnest, which was at my wedding, which I looked like a stick figure, I still weighed like 142 pounds. And people think that that's what I weigh normally, but like my healthy weight is between 150 and 155. That's when I like look my best. But people always say like, I can't believe you weigh that much. Like you don't look like you weigh that much. So anyways, that's good. But yeah, so I didn't know my weight my whole pregnancy, so I really enjoyed it. And leading up to my due date, I had all this excitement, like, oh my God, like I'm finally gonna meet her. Like I've been pregnant for so long, like I can't wait. And when you're leading up to your due date, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, you're just like, when am I gonna have her? Is she gonna come early? Is she gonna come late? Wouldn't it be crazy if she came right on her due date, which she totally did. I'm surprised but not surprised she came on her due date, because like I said, I was tracking my period very carefully, because I know exactly when I got pregnant. So my due date was extremely accurate. Whereas, I think with some women, they're just guessing, like they weren't planning to get pregnant, or they weren't tracking their period. So their due date is just like a guesstimate. Whereas like my due date was like spot on. So it's just so crazy that she came. So the day before my due date, so I had her on a Wednesday. So that Monday I had like my 40-week appointment, and I asked the doctor to do a membrane sweep. And right afterwards I started bleeding a little bit, which like I ran back into the clinic freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I'm fucking bleeding. Like what's happening? Because I wasn't one of those people that bled like during my pregnancy. So I hadn't seen blood since March. So it freaked me the fuck out. And they said that it's normal. And so then the next day, Tuesday the 8th, I lost my mucus plug. It was like fucking disgusting. By the way, I'm just gonna say, like, my birth story isn't all like roses and rainbows. Like there's some nasty shit that happens. So just a warning, that is a thing. So anyway, so the 8th, the day before my due date, I lost my mucus plug. And then on the 9th, my due date, Well, no, wait. Okay, just kidding. So I lost my mucus plug during the day on the 8th. And then, you know, it gets to be like, that was like that afternoon. And then it gets to be like midnight. And I'm like, oh my God, at midnight, it's like my due date. Like, what the fuck? And I was just like, you know, kind of had like energy. And I was like, you know, super amped up and excited. And it was like midnight on the 9th. So it's like it just turned 12:01 and now it's the 9th. And so I'm like, fuck, I better go to bed. Like, I need to get some rest. And leading up to my due date, like, I'm telling you, I don't work, so I can kind of, you know, create my own schedule. And I was sleeping so much. Like, I would literally go to bed at 10 o'clock at night and wake up at 1 p.m. Like, no lie, that's freaking crazy. I can't believe how much I slept, but it was really nice. So I enjoyed it while I could, because like sleep did not happen after I had her at all. So anyways, so it's midnight on my due date. I'm like, I better go to bed, and I get in bed and I'm trying to fall asleep. And I'm just kind of laying there and I'm like, okay, now I'm getting tired, and now it's like, okay, like I'm ready to go to sleep. And then of course I have to fucking pee, because when you're pregnant and your baby's head's on your bladder, you have to pee every 2 seconds. It's actually really annoying, constantly having to pee and constantly having that urge to pee, because the head is just constantly on your bladder. So anyways, I get up to go pee. I walked to the bathroom, I pull my pants down and sit on the toilet, and I went to pee, but no pee came out, and a bunch of water came out in the toilet. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, Kyle, my husband, I was like, wake up. Oh my God, my fucking water just broke. It was just like, you know, you have all this anticipation, like your whole pregnancy, of like what it's gonna be like. And like a lot of my really good friends are moms, and so they've told me like their birth stories and their water breaking, and they've all said that their water broke, but like not that much came out. You know, it was just like one like gush and then it was over with. And so my water just broke. I'm literally sitting on the toilet, which was hella nice, because I'm just like, cool, like I don't have to clean up a mess. So then I pee, I get up, I start walking back to my bedroom, and literally waterworks is like coming out like on my flooring. And I was just like, oh my God. And I like kind of grabbed my crotch and like ran back to the bathroom and sat on the toilet, because I was like, holy shit, like there is more water coming out. And then I turned on the light and like looked in the toilet, and the water was kind of like a murky, like yellow green color. Like it was disgusting, and it freaked me out, because I had no idea that that was a possibility, that that was the color it was going to be. So of course I get on Google and I'm Googling, what if your water breaking is this color, whatever. And it said that, you know, it could be totally fine and normal from like the baby pooping inside of you, and now your mucus plug is gone. So when the water breaks, like some of that color comes out because the baby just like went to the bathroom. Or it could mean that there's like meconium or something in the baby's like system, and it can cause an infection and harm the baby. So like I freak out. I'm like yelling at my husband. I'm like, call the fucking doctor and like tell them that like the water breaking is this color and whatever. And I'm like yelling at him. I'm like a total fucking bitch. I'm just like freaking out. And might want to mention, my husband and I bought a house, so we moved about 45 minutes away from my hospital, whereas before we lived like 15 minutes away. So that freaked me out, especially when I saw the green nasty color. I was just like, oh my God, fuck. So I get up, I'm like holding my crotch, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a shower. That was like my plan all along. Like once my water breaks or I start having a contraction, like I'm gonna take a shower so I can feel super fresh at the hospital. So I get in the shower, and like, it's just funny because like earlier that day I was like, I should take a shower and like wash my hair. But then I'm like, no, like you're not gonna have her on your due date, like get real. And so my hair was like hella fucking greasy, but like I didn't want to blow dry it and go through that whole thing, because I knew my husband was going to go to my in-laws house, which they live like 5 minutes away, and drop off my dog, and then we were going to bounce. So I had to like hurry. So I was like, okay, fuck it. Like I'll just wash my hair and, you know, blow dry it as much as possible before we leave. And like while I'm in the shower, more of that water, nasty, murky color is just like coming out of me. Like literally, like unless I hold my crotch, like it is coming out. And I'm like freaking out, because I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm gonna have to wear a diaper to the fucking hospital. Like, oh my God. And I did like wear a diaper to the hospital because I literally had no choice. And so at this point, it's probably like 1:30 or 2 in the morning on the 9th. And of course I tell my husband I want to go get McDonald's breakfast. I want to like go eat because I know who knows how long it's going to be till I can eat when we go check in or whatever. So we go through Mickey D's, we get some breakfast, which was super good. And then my husband like parked the car and I went in and checked in with like triage. And then they basically took me into this little triage room where they checked the baby's heart rate, kind of took my vitals, all that kind of thing. And the people were super nice, but you know, I'm just like so nervous. I'm like, oh my God, is her heart beating? Is everything okay? Like I just go into kind of like anxiety panic mode, which is annoying. But so then it's like, okay, now they're gonna like admit me into the delivery room. And it's like at this point, like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, somewhere around there. And this girl, there's 2 girls that are like in triage, like doing all my shit. I can tell one of them is like getting trained, which like didn't really bother me. I was just kind of like, whatever. But then one of them, I wasn't sure which one was training and which one wasn't, but the one that wasn't trained comes in and she's like, okay, I'm gonna like do your IV or whatever. And so she like sticks the needle in me and she like totally fucks it up and then does it again and like hurts me. And then she's like, oh, sorry, like, I gotta go get this person to like do it for you. Like, I couldn't get it. And I was just like kind of annoyed, like, okay, could you guys have at least asked me if I wanted to have this girl do my IV or give me an option, you know? That kind of like a little bit annoyed me, but I was like, whatever. I was just too excited to have the baby. And then I finally get admitted into the delivery room, and might I add, all the nurses and doctors that I worked with were so nice. I'm so happy with my experience overall. But the reason I'm mentioning this is because the story gets kind of funnier. I have to like kind of explain things. So I'm admitted into the delivery room, and there's this really sweet nurse that comes in, and you know, she's hooking me up to the monitor. She's like, tells me to get in this gown. She shows me the bathroom, shows me how to like unhook my cords if I have to like go to the bathroom, because she had like the monitor on the baby and the monitor on me. And she told me that like, even when they're not in the room, they're constantly monitoring me somewhere out in the hallway or in an office or something. I don't really know. But so then she's like, okay, I'm gonna check your cervix. And then like another lady comes in, and so there's 2 of them. And so the one that was originally working with me, she like sticks her hands up there, like this. She's like, she sticks her hands up there and she's just like, you know, whereas other people who have done it like kind of go up there and then they're done and they're like, okay. So she's like up there for like a while. And I'm like hella uncomfortable. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it felt like she was in there for 5 minutes. Really, it was probably only like 10 to 15 seconds, but it felt like forever and it was really awkward. And I could tell she was getting trained on how to check pregnant ladies' dilation. I could tell. And so I was just like, oh my God, like, are you kidding me? Like, again, someone's getting trained and like doesn't know what they're doing, and they're using me as their guinea pig test dummy. So that was kind of annoying, but again, I just let it go because they're all super nice. So then around 9 a.m., they started me on Pitocin and wanted to get my contractions more intense. And so by noon, they were absolutely unbearable. They didn't tell me, they told me basically I'd get an epidural anytime, but they kind of made it seem like I needed to wait until it was really intense. And so it started getting really intense, and I was just like, why the fuck am I making myself suffer? Like, give me the epidural now. And so they went to go get the people to do the epidural, the anesthesiologist, and they basically said the only downfall to getting the epidural was that once I got my epidural, I wasn't gonna be able to eat anything besides ice chips and drink anything. But like, I was in so much pain before the anesthesiologist came in that like, I didn't give a fuck. I was like, whatever, I'm gonna be feeling numb down there. Like, that's all I care about. And so I'm literally like, the anesthesiologist comes in with like another person, and I'm just like, oh hell no, they're not gonna, like, this isn't gonna be a guinea pig situation. And so I'm like sitting on the edge of the bed, and my husband is like, you know, rubbing my shoulders, and I see the two people come in, and I look at my nurse, and I was like, I don't have a filter right now. I'm in too much pain. Like, no offense. Like, whichever one of you is getting trained, I don't want you fucking up my epidural. Like, I cannot have this fucked up. I've had 2 weirdo situations earlier, which I thought were fine and like let it go. But like my epidural and sticking a needle in my fucking back, I'm not having someone who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing do that. So, and then I looked at the person that was training. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm in a lot of pain. I just can't. And so they were like super understanding, and they were like, it's okay, like whatever. So I kind of like, you know, was a bitch and like flashed, but it's like, hey, it's my epidural. I don't want this getting messed up. I don't want any mistakes on my epidural with a needle in my back. Thanks. So then I get the epidural, and I'm just like, hallelujah. Like, I feel amazing. Like, it was just like instantly, I'm just like, you know. And mind you, I kind of got the epidural hoping that I could sleep. Unfortunately, there was none of that. I had been awake since like going in from December 8th to 9th. Like, I didn't even go to bed. Like, I went to bed, and then right away my water broke, and I left to come to the hospital. So it's like, I haven't slept in a very long time. At this point, it's like 1 in the afternoon. I haven't slept for 12 hours. And so, yeah, so I had the epidural. I was super chill, super comfortable. I was like laying on my side, and like the nurse kept coming in and saying that the way I was laying was like making the baby's blood pressure go up and down, and making my blood pressure go up and down, which was like super stressful. So I was like getting a little worried. Like, when you hear like all the monitors like beeping, it's like, oh my God, like freak out mode. But so they checked my dilation again. At this point, I'm like 4 centimeters dilated or something like that. You have to be at 10 to push. And so basically, they kind of were like, you're probably not gonna have this baby anytime soon. Like, you're only at 4, like, it's been hours since you've been in labor. Like, I wouldn't expect to have this baby until late tonight or early in the morning the next day. And so I was just like, okay, like whatever. And like, luckily I wasn't hungry at all. Like, once I got the epidural, my appetite was completely gone, but I was thirsty as fuck. Like, I wanted some cranberry juice or orange juice so bad. My mouth was just super dry. So you can probably hear my daughter starting to wake up. I gotta feed her soon. But I call her little dinosaur girl because she growls at me. I'll go get her for the video. My baby girl just woke up from her nap. Oh, and this is my dog Roman. Hey, give us space, baby. These are my 2 babies, Roman and Remy. Hey, give us a little space, okay? So anyways, so then she checks my dilation again at like 5 p.m. and she kind of like sticks her, and this nurse I really connected with, she sticks her hands up there and she's like, oh my God, like your cervix is completely gone, like you're ready to push. And I was like, oh my God, seriously? Like, because I wasn't expecting that, because they made it seem like it was gonna be so much longer till that happened. And so I was just like, oh my gosh. But as soon as she said I'm gonna start pushing, I kid you not, like my epidural low-key started wearing off a little bit. And so I like freaked out. I was like, I need the anesthesiologist to come back up here and give me a little bit more of whatever, because I'm feeling everything. The whole point of me getting an epidural was like not to feel anything. So I'm freaking out. So I'm glad I spoke up, because she, here's Remy Nash. Pretty girl. She just woke up. She's gonna want to eat. Anyways. Anyways, so the anesthesiologist comes down and gives me like just enough to like get me through pushing. Like it couldn't have been any more perfect. Like, I knew what she was doing. Like she came in, and like the point is like you can't be so numb down there that you can't feel anything, because then you can't tell if you're pushing or not. but she gave me just literally like the most perfect amount that helped me push and like not feel anything, but I could tell I was pushing, if that makes sense. So anyways, I started she's smiling. Smile again. So I started pushing at around 5 o'clock, and then I had her at 6:07 p.m. and I might or might not add a clip of her coming out. There's nothing you can see on my body, like you can't see my crotch or anything. My husband took a video for my shoulders. So I think like just in the case that my phone crashes and I lose that video, I might post it on here. So if you don't want to see her coming out of me from a shoulder angle, then stop watching this video now because I'm gonna post it. But she was born at 6:07 p.m. She was 6 pounds, 8 ounces. And she is the most perfect baby ever. She just turned a month old on January 9th, and I'm so in love. I could not be more happy. I could not be more grateful and blessed. I'm in absolute heaven with this baby. Like, I've wanted a baby for so long, and God did not disappoint and gave me the most perfect little girl in the whole world. And I just am in love with her, and I think we look alike. We have the same nose, because my husband definitely doesn't have this nose. But anyways, that's my birth story. I had her at 6:07 p.m. I'm gonna end the video with posting that video of her coming out. Again, you can't see anything inappropriate. You can't see my crotch or my boobs or anything like that. You just kind of see the doctor pulling her out. And it's just the best moment of my life. I totally thought I would cry when they put her on me, but I was just in shock. Like, she came out and the first thing I thought was like, oh my God, she looks like my mom. That was literally the first thought I had. And yeah, she has, I knew she would have light brown hair. I just knew it. Her hair is getting kind of long. My husband was like, oh, we need to give her a haircut. I was like, we're not cutting my newborn's hair. Sorry. So, again, thank you for watching this video. If you're new here, I would love it if you subscribed and liked this video, and I will see you in my next video. In the next video, I plan to talk about what the first month of her life has been like for me with my mental health, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Awesome.
Yes, baby cries.
She's very mad at us.
Yeah, big cries. There's your mom. There's your dad. Say hi, guys.
You're good, Peanut. I know, you got it.
Nice job, honey.
Saves me so much.
Good job. So she's still attached to her cord, so I can't pull her up too far. Mama's sweet, remember? I'll bring her closer up on your chest, okay?
Do you want your kit on or down?
That would be great. You did awesome.
Thank
okay?
you. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Nice job, baby.
Might keep in touch. There's a baby who wants to put something in touch.
Hey, I'm gonna stop, okay?
Okay.